The Island of Giant Insects is one of those mangas where you don't know if it's meant to be an actual manga or not safe for work material. I wanted to discuss this and review the sequel called The Even Bigger Island of Giant Insects, a very original name. I remember saying in my last review of the animated movie how the manga does get better. Well, but I'm here to credit past me to tell you that this has to be one of the worst manga I had read. Well, I'm a bit exaggerating, but it's pretty bad reading this. I've never been so pissed off over a media, not even Promised Neverland Season 2 made me this angry. The Even Bigger Island of Giant Insects is a waste of potential of a series that could have been a great series to enjoy. So, let's talk about that. When it comes to characters, I tend to be very critical about since they can overall improve upon a story or a very basic one, especially when it comes to survival type of stories, where you need to make a character relatable, interesting, and likable to see them succeed and survive in whatever situation they're in. In the case of this series, it really hurts the most, where you get characters either bland, boring, terrible, which is one or two decent ones at best in the story. And one of these characters I want to talk about is Keisuke, one of the most bastardized and terrible characters I lay my eyes upon, where he went from an average Joe okay character to a sex predator in a matter of 14 chapters, where in the beginning he wasn't terrible. Despite him pointing guns at them and letting Kirishima sexually torture Momo, his intentions were always good, where he couldn't trust his people, not after others like him from the outside of the islands came by and raped and pillaged their place. So again, doesn't come from ill intent. And he tries to redeem himself by, there's like a mission where they gotta take the medicine back to the shrine. He was gonna do it by himself so he can get some honor back and letting Mitsumi stay behind, well, not after roofing her, but again, not from ill intent. And then where we get a scene where they're getting attacked by giant leeches. He was ready to commit seppuku to draw their attentions to him so the others can escape. So like I said, so far not a great character, but he was decent at best, but not until chapter 10 part 2, where his character just took a massive nosedive. The others went to get some fuel so they can refuel the ship and be able to escape, but they discovered once that they came back, it was sunken by a bunch of barnacles. So they decided to fix the radio to call for help. While this was happening, Kiyosuke out of nowhere becomes impatient for them being too long. The forest filled with giant insects and they're only being out for 20 hours. It's kind of like, oh geez, I wonder why they're taking so long. But not only that, but he's like thinking like, oh, they must escape even though some of their friends are back there and the dude's sister's back there. So like, why would they even escape? That doesn't make sense. So he decides to take Aoi, a girl who was bitten by mosquitoes and got scurvy. So she's in no condition to travel, but he decides to take her by force, which leads to one of the worst scenes in the manga that ever happens. Just be prepared. So Kiyosuke points a gun at Ryuko, and so Mami rightfully points a gun right back at him. Okay, understandable, but Ryuko moves in to stop Mami from shooting him, and she gets shot for it. This is what I'm talking about, how the series is just awful. The characters make the most dumbest things, and Kiyosuke's character does not stop here. It just keeps going downhill. Well, after he was saved by Mitsumi, again by mantises, where at this moment he could have like redeemed himself. Like he acknowledged like, oh, like, why do you save me? Like I backstabbed you. And he was like, okay, you know what? I'm a douche. I'm sorry. And he could have redeemed himself. But no, he stabs Mitsumi in the back again and uses Shitosa as a hostage and a sex partner. It doesn't end there. While the mantis are attacking and invading the safe school, while everyone else is fighting them, Kiyosuke is too busy getting canned coochie. This is the guy who was ready to commit seppuku just to buy time for the others can escape, and then became a sex predator. It's almost as if the author wanted a bad human character and excuses to have more nudity, so he uses this character for that role. This is the most laziest and terrible writing I've seen, and he's not the only bad character, just more like him. Where you thought it's already terrible enough to have one of them. No. We need another just like him, but this time he likes to impregnate women. Shimosuma. He's the newer one and the worst one yet. All he cares is sex and will get rapey. He doesn't deserve to be talked about, so I'm just gonna skip him. He's a waste of a character, waste of time. The old man. He's a minor character, but he's one of the worst characters yet in this whole series. Worse than Kiyosuke. His whole purpose, his whole character is just to create conflict. That's it. Like, let me tell you how bad this character is. And most people will want to see this old man die after I explain to you. After they get to the school, Mitsumi comes up with a plan to fortify the school by covering blankets all over the windows so the mantis won't see and locking the front door. But no, the old man wanted to open the curtains because he wanted to see the outside. I don't know. Once he does open the curtains, he sees a mantis outside the glass. So his brain just circuits or something. I don't know. And he decides to abandon the teacher and the kids and tries to open the door so the others can get in. So he single-handedly created one of the worst case scenario out of just being frightened. Like I said before, this is gonna be the laziest way just to create conflict and just made this character to do it. They could just easily have the bug smash through the window, but no, instead, fuck it, let's have a fiesta and let's the amigos inside. It's the most dumb and lazy. To add insult to injury, we don't see this guy die horribly. No, the teacher is the one who dies, who absolutely did nothing wrong, gets brutally murdered by mantises, and the kids die. Like, luckily we don't see the kids get horribly butchered, but it's still horrible. Like, I may sound like a pansy for like not liking it, but it's like, I don't mind gore, I like it. Like, I got a collection of Berserk mangas like in the corner of my room, but here it's just like, they didn't even deserve to be horribly killed, and that's what I don't like. It just comes across edgy and distasteful. To say this, he wasn't even a nice guy before he died. Like, once like Mitsumi group came by inside the school, he was like, oh, get out of here. Like, he was like screaming and crying. Like, he was acting like a baby for like an old dude. So yeah, he wasn't even that good of a character before he died. But what pisses me off is the way the characters are written like that. They don't trust Mitsumi group. Even despite that them got saved twice or held 3 times, they still don't trust her because she's an outsider. It's just lazy writing to make group of survivors add drama and mistrust with each other. But it's hard to do that when their asses keeps getting saved by them. And after being saved, they're like, thank you, they're like, oh my god, thank you for saving us. But forgets all about it in the next chapter and come out with a excuse like, we don't trust outsider. It's incredibly lazy internal drama writing. I hate it. As for our protagonists, they're equally bland as well. Mitsumi was slowly starting to warm up to me, since she was acting more confident, taking charge, being able to take on larger bugs. It was starting to get great, but things were slowly falling apart. One where they were traveling to the radio, but Mitsumi just forgets that light attracts bugs. I mean, this is equivalent to Game of Thrones where Daenerys forgets there are enemy ships out there. You're a bug expert, how could you forget about that? That light attracts bugs, it's simple. But what makes me dislike the character is when Toki says, hey, can you come alone? Yet she doesn't realize it's a trap. It's so obvious a trap, but she doesn't realize it. And Kagami wants to go with her, but she's like, no, why? No, we gotta do this by ourselves. And it keeps turning her down hard. Like, oh geez, I wonder what will happen next. She gets betrayed and Chitose is taken as hostages. Mitsumi is just a dumb protagonist. Not like Goku where he's like charismatically dumb, where she doesn't even understand things, but doesn't realize like, hey, stop saving these people. Your lifeguard got shot, and you gotta save them and trust him again. It's just like the old man, Mitsumi's starting acting like a little kid. Like, she's like screaming and whining. Like, there's some, you cannot understand why, because like, she's trying like a rush some things, trying to get to Chitose as fast as she can. But I don't know, she's starting to be like a little kid. Like, she's like whining, crying, yelling. It comes across as just cringe and annoying. It's pathetic to watch. Like, this is our protagonist. I don't know, it's horrible. Momo, she's just here. Same thing for Mami. And for Ayuma, one former person who wants to kill Mitsumi to a simp for her. I'll talk about Kagami, Kishigami, and Chitose in the fan service part of the video because there's a lot to discuss about the characters there. As for the Mad Max reject, they all just die because why not? To be honest, they didn't have much of a character to begin with. And a couple interesting moments here and there, like Misha, who's about to kamikaze them, and Keita, who just had an axe. And that's it. For her sister Miki, don't have much of a personality. Well, none of them really have much personality. Not all male characters are bad. Here, Kai is still likable, since he doesn't come across annoying or stupid, and he does contribute to the group. Nagumi is another character, a new one. He's not a bad character as well. All he wants to do is save his sister, Aoi, and he does somewhat help with the group. Sawali, he's just there. He's more of like a medic. But the problem is that despite them not being bad characters, they hardly get any screen time. Kai and Nagumi doesn't have much in the beginning, and they're gone after chapter 10 where they get no screen time at all. And Sawada, who I'm only mentioning his name because he isn't rapey, doesn't get none at all. Where I thought he was actually dead at some points, but no, he's still alive. It's just we don't see him. When I'm trying to get out, the only decent characters don't get any screen time at all. Instead, we focus more on Kyosuke being a douche. The characters in this manga are stupid and dislikable, where I'm gonna put a blood bag behind my pocket and follow my ass to attract more insects, or I'm gonna trust these people even though they betray me. Ryuko, another dumb character that keeps jumping in front of people, guns constantly, just so humans won't hurt each other, even though they keep taking hostages and pointing guns at them, and tries to stop them like Mami or Kai pointing back at them. Why? They're bad dudes. Eventually it came to bit her back when she gets shot for it. The most dislikable thing is that they don't want to trust them because the Ryan says so. It's just coming across stupid since they have no reason not to trust them. It really makes it hard to care any of these characters to want to see them live, where I care more about a dolphin dying than any of them. Since in a survival story, you have to make the characters, but none of them are that interesting, likable, and it's just come across as awful and terrible, and you just don't want to see them live. Now, personally for me, I'm not interested in all that stuff. Where authors or anime try to show more cleavage or butt on the screen, for me, it comes across as annoying than anything else. If I don't want to see that, I could just pull up the internet and look up not safe for work materials. I'm just here to read about a manga about insects and people trying to survive. Fan service for this manga is so bad that I can't tell the difference between an actual manga or not safe for work material. All the females have overly grown boobs. Every one of them wouldn't be so bad if they get naked every single time, where I know most of the girls instantly becomes lesbian, trying to get their DMs way too much. Kagami is a character where you thought, oh, she might be a badass. Look at her, she's like a fighter. Nope. She's here to force herself onto Mitsumi. And same thing for Ayuma, where wanted to kill Mitsumi because her rapey teacher got killed. Well, not killed by Mitsumi, she just got killed by a spider. And she blames her for it. Yeah, it's a bit weird. But after she was saved by Mitsumi, she instantly becomes like a sim for Mitsumi and tries to rape her in the showers. It's annoying. Kirishimi, who sexually tortures Momosuke and then drops her into the worms. I don't care if my dumb small brain want to see more bugs and character talking. It's even worse for the male characters where they instantly become rapey. Like I said before, author wants to have excuses to have more of these scenes in his manga, so he uses Kyosuke's whole character just to make him more of a sex predator, and creates a whole new character being just a sex predator. Even then, he still comes up with excuses where he just makes the characters randomly naked. Like, once they came back from the radio station to the shrine, all of them are tied up naked. But in the flashback, we never seen that happen once. We don't see like a Kyosuke tying them up naked. No, that never happens. Or where Mitsumi is just randomly naked on the floor sleeping. Or they're trying to put a mosquito repellent onto their body. So the author try to make the most fetish thing where they put it all over their feet. And we see that happening. It's annoying. And it's starting to become even more annoying that the facts, the only good part of the anime, the interesting part, are showing nudity as well. Shitose was one who was starting to become a bit of a badass. She was warming up to me, and then she becomes an object. Okay, to be fair, she's doing it as an act, but I just don't like human characters resorting to this garbage. It really kills it for me where we are forced to see girls being forced upon by disgusting, shitty characters like Kyosuke and the other character. I just don't even want to mention his name. So far, I've been pretty negative about it. But there are some genuinely good things in this manga where the bug facts are really interesting. We get to know more about the bugs, the way they hunt, the type of species they are, and the weaknesses. Any bug fanatic will really like some of these moments. And then the drawing of the bugs is good as well. They look genuinely well drawn, little details here and there, especially for the cicadas and mantis, where they just look pretty damn good. And there's surprisingly good world building where the characters slowly discover more of why they're growing big and realize, oh, they're like evolving, they're growing bigger and bigger, and they slowly discover more about it, to the point where they're even developing ancestors' traits a million years ago. It's just starting to become pretty interesting. Despite being more or less the same story, is that we get to see more recognizable bugs, like beetles, mantis, mosquitoes, and cicadas. Into this story, there's a lot more goals, where last time there was just wandering around the forest trying to survive. Here it's like We need to get the medical supplies for Ivy. Okay, the ship is sunken, let's fix the radio. If I kill all the cicadas. Oh no, they got Oi, let's get her back and fortify the school. There seems to be a lot more things happening here and goals in the last installment. Then comes to the biggest question. Why do I care? Why did I put effort in making this video? What was my purpose? Well, surprisingly, not for use. Oh, well, kinda. But the real reason why I care, because I love the concept a lot. I genuinely think this could be a good if done properly. Personally for me, I like to see more media or movies about this instead of 10,000 shows about superheroes. I want to see more monster movies or shows of giant bugs, especially now since movies of Godzilla is getting popular here. And most of the bug movies are just old, poorly done, or not taking the concept seriously. Like, let's be honest, if they were the size of humans, we'd be dead. Just the concept of humans surviving against bugs and using the knowledge about them is a really great idea, and that's why I really care about the series and that's why I read it. But despite having a great concept, it's plagued with terrible writing of characters, disgusting fan service. It just ruins it. But what pisses me off more is that there is effort put into this, where the facts about them are interesting and the bugs' drawings are good, and the world about it, the bugs growing bigger and bigger, everything about it is interesting. The concept is there. If the characters were written better and the fan service turned down a lot, this could have been genuinely a really great series. And that's why the even bigger, I don't know, giant insect is a wasted potential of a series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and bye.
Jimmy Coon, I'm trying to sneak into your mom's house, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting your dog.